everybody, this is Dr. Joe Borio, and welcome this evening to How to Set Your Staff on Fire with TIC. Kind of a catchy phrase, but first off, I want to share what an honor it is always to present to people, to share what I love with people, hopefully that they love and appreciate exactly the same things, and that our goals are the same, that we want to take over the world, if you will, with the chiropractic philosophy, with the chiropractic message. We want to make humanity better, healthier for ourselves, for our lives, for our children and their children, and so on. And there's a ripple effect, and things are starting to change, but you know, we need to work better. And one of the ways we work better is to have a team. I think sometimes what happens is we start to practice on an island, you know, and you start to think, okay, you know, these two people are work with me or for me, which is a big mistake. And then what happens is you're working in your office, and you know, you're like in this fish tank looking out, and you're not like fully engaged. You're not working with other chiropractors. You're not working with a team of other chiropractors. You're not plugged in, if you will, and that hurts us. So there's a whole bunch of stuff I want to go over, but in reality is, how do you set your staff on fire with TIC? And you know, what does that even mean? That means that you get your staff is fired up, if not more fired up, about what it is that we do as chiropractors. What is it that we do as chiropractors? So that's what I mean by that. And you know, we did our cute little slogans, and we did our little Facebook ads and so forth, and it was cute. But that's where I'm coming from. You know, turning up the heat, getting them excited, getting them engaged, getting them to understand what it is we do as chiropractors, to understand the nervous system, to understand what your objective and your intention is when you adjust people. What is it that you're trying to do? And if they understand it and they're speaking the same language as you are, oh my God, the practice takes on a whole new meaning. It takes on a whole new power. You're more congruent. Congruency is power. Congruency is clarity. Your message is more impactful. You're more influential. All those wonderful things start to occur when everybody's working together. So how do you turn them on? So we want to go over that, and I'll always, you know, I go off on my tangent, so I'm going to go over some other things that I'm always excited about. And for those of you that hang in right to the end, we're having an event in Las Vegas on July 26th, 27th. It's going to be at the Luxor. It's probably going to be our biggest event we've ever had. So we're really excited about it. Our program is larger than it's ever been in the 4 years that we went national with it, so I'm very excited about that. We're bringing in Dr. Brad Glowacki, Dr. John Davila, along with some other people to share, to inspire you, but to really give you some nuts and bolts in practice, so that when you leave the event, I don't want you to just ride on the energy. I want you to have some things that you can actually plug into. And if it's something that you love and you resonate with us, boy, we'd love to have you part of the Chiropassion family. There's no doubt about that. So that being said, hang into the end, and I got a special prize, if you will, or gift that I want to share with everybody. There's no doubt about that as well. So that being said, how do I set my staff on fire? How do I get them excited? First and foremost, we call it team huddle, and I think it's something that sometimes some people look at as corny, and I think when I think back and when that was shared with me many years ago by other mentors, I thought it was kind of corny, like, oh, you know, you got to do this team huddle and so forth. But you know, we don't do a huddle like that. We're going to call it a team pump up in the morning. And what we want to do is we want to set the tone for the day. Listen, everybody comes into your office with issues. They have a dog or a cat or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife or a car, rent, electrician, argument with a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. You know, so we all have that in life. That's life. So when we come into the office, boy, it's tough if we're all starting at different places in the day. Somebody might have a great morning, somebody might not have such a great morning, and somebody's life's falling apart. You know, so the reality is, all that's going on, we need to create a moment in the morning where we can actually do a team huddle. Number one. Number two, it's 5 minutes long. Number three, you don't run it. I think the biggest mistake that I learned is that we start with the concept that we have to do everything. And maybe it's not even we start with that concept. We start our practices doing everything, So you start your practice where you're doing everything in the practice. And all of a sudden, your practice grows and you bring more people in. Yeah, what you're doing is you're doing everything. And it does two things. One, puts more stress upon you. And all of a sudden what happens is, you've got a pie, if you will, and that pie is the amount of energy, time, dedication, focus that you can make available to any given day. What happens is that pie starts to get broken up a little bit. And all of a sudden, the more you're doing, you get more pieces of the pie, and you can't fit more in the pie shell. So what happens is each piece comes a little smaller. And that means you put less effort, less clarity, less dedication to those tasks or chores. They don't get done, they're not done as effectively, and then what happens, we become reactionary in practice. We're always cleaning up messes. So that's one thing that happens. The other thing that happens, and again, many times it's inadvertently, is we start to enable people to become what I call cubicle workers. We tend to enable them to become box workers, which means they come in, they punch in, what's my task? So they become task-oriented, punch out, that's my task. They go home, they put their head on the pillow, they're not concerned, they're not worried, they're not part of the mission, they're not part of the vision, and that's a problem. That's a problem. So that's what happens. So we need to delegate. Actually, an effective manager gets the job done utilizing other people, other skills. You're not afraid to hire people that are more skilled in different areas or more intelligent or have greater wisdom in other areas. So that's really important. So that being said, I don't run the morning huddle. Each of my staff is dedicated to a day. One of the staff is in charge of our morning huddle or our morning pump up, okay? And what that means is each one of the staff is required to go and do research, and it may only take 5 or 10 minutes, but they're going to do research on an article that they want to share with the group on chiropractic. So they're going to go out and look at the nervous system and chiropractic and ear infections, the nervous system chiropractic on Parkinson's, the nervous system and chiropractic on Alzheimer's, on colic, on irritable bowel syndrome, on low back pain, on headaches, on the function of the immune system. Whatever it is, they're doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't do one. They do it every morning. So what's going to happen is they're going to get up in the morning and we start that huddle at about 6 minutes before we start the day. And I'd say that's very critical. And everybody's there, on time's late, early's on time. We get up there, we're ready to go. One of the staff, they're all set to go. And let's say it's Brittany's day and Brittany's going to share with us a great article. And then I leave it open to the group. Why do you think that makes a difference? How does that affect the body? And every single day, I try to share with them a little bit more about the body, about the nervous system. What's the cerebellum? What's the cerebrum? What's cerebral spinal fluid? What's the sympathetic? What's the parasympathetic? What's afferent? What's efferent? What's brain cell? What's tissue cell? What's the a baby pin cycle? All of those things are now allowed for me to communicate in that front, which is just awesome. So every day we're starting on a topic, and then we always talk about the goal of the day. Are you sub-goaling? Are you writing down leads to do outside talks? Have you chosen 2 people that you're going to talk to? Maybe 1 or 2 people in the morning, 1 or 2 people in the afternoon that you're going to ask for a referral. Maybe it's everybody you're going to ask for a referral, depending on what you do. Do you do card day? Do you do a coupon? Do you do a movie night? Something like that. But again, are you sub-goaling? And that's something that successful practices, certainly successful people do. So are you starting the day with saying, okay, we're going to grab 3 people in the morning and 3 people in the afternoon, and we want to ask them about coming in and speaking in their group. That's huge. That's huge. So that allows them to be part of it. Office meetings, another example. It's critical to have office meetings. Number 2, they shouldn't be run by you. One of your staff should take notes. One of the staff should have the outline. One of the staff should actually be running your meeting. Therefore, you're not running it. You show up. You may have a couple of topics that you want to open up when you do old business, and that's what you start your meeting with. Remember, business always becomes a complaint session. Everybody starts to be negative sometimes, or negativity is identified. We don't want that. We don't want critics. We want problem solvers. We want people that are going to offer solutions. So we talk about that in the beginning of the meeting. Second part of the meeting, we are then going to discuss some training. Third part of the meeting, we're always going to share the case of the week. So my staff runs the meeting, and they're going to pick the case of the week. They're going to pick, and they take turns, each one of the staff, and they're going to take a turn and pick a case their x-rays, thermography, surface EMG, whatever you're utilizing in your office. You pull the whole file, and they get to do a case presentation with the other staff and you, and they get to say, hey, listen, here's Tyler, he came in, he had Tourette syndrome, this is what his film looked like, what are the concerns, what are the issues, what are the things we need to focus, and so forth. And sometimes you'll step up and take a little direction if they seem a little lost. But as you do this, what's happening is you're creating, if you will, mini chiropractors. You're starting to make people part of your vision. That's huge. A couple other things here. We don't want to use I, me. We want to use we. We want to start asking our staff, what do you think? What are your ideas? Tell me how you would solve this problem. Another couple of points. Staff never work for you, they work with you. Remember, there's a big difference between being a boss and being a leader. A boss is somebody who's going to start dictating to people what to do. A leader is somebody who's going to jump right in there and do it along with them. He or she is the person who's going to maybe create a song, create an energy, create a vision, create a purpose. Remember, people will go at great lengths to achieve what it is you've created a vision for. Have you created the vision? What is the vision of your practice? What is the vision of your life? What is your objective? What is your intention? Has any of this been spelled out? And that leads me to the last kind of part of that internal office aspect is, have you set goals for your practice? And have you set the goals for your practice with your staff? I think a big mistake that docs make is that they say, well, I want to see 300 people in a week, and I want to do this, and this is my collection, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to do. And that all sounds great, but you know what? You got to remember something. You have a team of people there. You don't have a bunch of slaves or servants. You have a team of people. They are part of you. They are human beings. They have, lives outside your practice. They're there certainly to make a living, but boy, could you imagine if they were there for a much greater cause? All of a sudden, what they make every hour or every week isn't as meaningful as it is for making a difference in the world. But they're only going to know that if they're part of the vision. So when you set up your goals, you need to set some goals up for your staff, with your staff. So we're going to sit down and we're going to, in December, and we don't do it January 1, we do it December, late November, and say, okay, guys, this is where we are now. This is what our great achievement was or achievements were this year. Where do you guys want to see? Where do you want to take the office? What would you like to see? What would you like to see changed? How would you like to see the practice running and so forth? And you may not agree with them, but you can't be attacking them. You want to hear what their feedback is, because I'm going to tell you something. When you make it open, and you make them, when they're vulnerable and you make it to a place where they can be vulnerable, they're going to start telling you what they like to see, what they want to see, and you get a good feeling of where their headspace is too. So what we do is we do a meeting, several meetings, late November, early December, and we set up our goals for the year. It's never too late to do that if you haven't done it. You should have a mission or a purpose statement for your practice. Certainly that's something that you talk about periodically throughout the year with your staff. So is everything we're doing working in conjunction with what our vision, our purpose, our mission is? These are all very important ideas. And then you're going to sit down and you're going to pick out some goals. And typically you should pick out 3 specific goals for your practice. You can pick out more, but 3 specific goals. And then you want to write down and you ask your staff, hey, what are 3 action steps? What are 3 things that we need to do? Again, I'm not a boss telling you what to do. I'm a leader. I'm a leader in your practice. That's what I'm doing. So I'm leading another group of people that are just as important and significant as me. They're important and significant. Again, they're not people that work below you. They work with you, and it's a big challenge I see in the practice. So what happens is you say, hey, listen, what are the action steps you think that we need to take here in the practice? What do you think we need to do? And what can we do better? What can we do differently? What do you think, Brittany? What do you think, Lisa? What do you think, Chelsea? What do you think, Leanne? What is it that we need to do? That's critical. It's vital in order to ask those questions. Another question is, what are the consequences of us not doing that? Hey, what happens to us if we don't do that? And why do we want to achieve that? Feel more fulfilled. It's more purposeful. Why not get them on fire with the same vision that you have? I understand they're not chiropractors, but that doesn't mean they're not capable of being great chiropractic helpers, chiropractic assistants. Chiropractors aren't going to lead the nation towards chiropractic lifestyle. The non-chiropractors are, and I think we forget that. You know, it's not all these guys and ladies, me included, that, you know, we get up on stage and we talk and we present and we do all those things, and that's great. And, yeah, you're awesome, and you were good, and you weren't, and that was great. And, I mean, that, you know, I get it, but the reality is, it's not us inspiring each other. In the end, it's going to be us inspiring our team and the laymen, the average people out there. Those are the people that go out and share chiropractic. So we want to know our goals, we want to know the why, we want to know the action steps, and we want to know the consequences. And that's done as a team. That's done as a group, okay? And then what is your mission? What is your purpose? We also train, we do the 30-second drill. It's actually right on YouTube for those people who are familiar with it. So you know, hey, what's this? What are these? How does this talk to these? You know, we should have a congruent way that we communicate. Any one of your staff should be able to be pulled aside and do a 30-second drill. Any one of your staff should know how to handle a conversation at a party, at a bar mitzvah, at a graduation, or something of that nature. And if somebody starts talking about chiropractic or a health challenge, they should be able to immediately discuss it in a way that's intelligent, articulate, yet very pragmatic, in a way that other people can understand it in a very simplified manner. That's important. That's critical. And that's only going to come from you, because you're a leader to them. You're setting them on fire. And in the end here, setting them on fire means being a leader. And what does that mean? That means you're doing and willing to do what it needs to be done in order to get the task at hand. When you look at the greatest of the greatest, you know, I didn't see an entourage, if you will, or a posse following Mother Teresa around. You know, I didn't see that, you know. And as a result, she did. You know, she didn't tell others to do, she did it. And that's important. And what she did is she led other people. Same thing with Gandhi, right? You see what Gandhi did. I mean, he didn't have a whole group of people and a whole group of staff and so forth in order to do all these things. And when you look at so many other great leaders, you'll see that they're willing to do. One of the great mentors of my life is my dad. And my dad ran a restaurant, and he ran a very large restaurant. I had 2 large wedding halls. They could serve 400 to 500 people in a hall. Each hall, he had a dining room that would serve 500 to 700 people a night. Fish dinners, clams, lasagna. You know, a lot of Italian influence there. It had a large bar. It's on a lake. So you know, he had it all happening there. But one of the things I'll tell you about my dad is, no matter what task needed to be done, he was willing to do it. He wasn't the boss that walked around with an iron fist and told everyone what they had to do in broken Italian. Okay, that's not how my dad led his team. What my dad did was, if something needed to be scrubbed, cleaned, carried, stocked, ran down. I mean, granted, he had a job to do, but if something needed to be done and one of the other kids was busy, I don't care if it was at the dishwasher or one of the waitresses was doing something, my father was willing to do that. And what happened is, he built this loyalty in his team, and they knew that, hey, listen, he would never ask them to do something that he himself wasn't willing to do. So one of the ways to do it is, if you got recalls or tracers, take part in that. You should be somebody that sits down with your staff, or certainly at the end of the night, okay, listen, you guys got 100 tracers to make this quarter. Give me a sheet. Let me make some calls. Let me make an effort to do that. You know, that's how you lead people. That means when you're doing your trainings in your office, you know, you're able to work with them. You're able to transfer not only your authority, your integrity, your passion, your excitement about chiropractic to them. Another couple of points. When you come in the office, newsflash, you should be the first person there. It really bothers me when I hear staff tell me, even with some of our clients, that, you know, the staff's there first and the doctor is not there until late. It's unacceptable, is what it is. You know, with very rare exception, I am the first one at the office, and I don't mean a little bit early. I'm there, you know, a good 30 minutes before my staff. I'm there an hour or more before the door's unlocked. And, you know, I'm not saying that to brag, but I've already done my rituals in the morning. I got out of bed, I take to my knees, I get humble to the universe. I thank the universe for giving me my life. I thank the universe for making me feel purposeful to give something to other people to make the world a healthier place. I think that's critical. I also then will start working on my affirmations and building myself up and putting some good self-talk in my head because we're all good at beating ourselves up, and so is the world really good at beating yourselves up, especially if you're a chiropractor. So I prepare for that. I start to read my journal. I start to read things that are really important to me, and I read my journal every day, and I write things down every day. And then what I do is I get to the office, I listen to something on my 40-minute drive, which is always going to be something inspirational. And then when I get to the office, I do all my work first, and then I sit down and I prepare mentally for the day. I might watch something on YouTube, I might read something, I might have a DVD that I'm listening to, whatever, but it's going to put me in a really good place. And then what happens? I look at the clock. As soon as we're a couple of minutes before the morning huddle, I'm up there with my staff, and then we do our huddle. My huddle, like I said, is going to be picked, that topic's going to be picked by the staff, and then we're going to do our goals for the day, our sub goals, and then we're going to do a power move. We're going to do a power move. We're going to stand in a power movement. Yeah, awesome. You're great. This is great. High fives or hugs. And then I know at that moment, we've got some major event going on there, but I know at that moment, we're ready, man. We're a team. We're solidified. My staff knows exactly where we're going that day. We know what our goals, we know what our mission, we know what our purpose is, and they're on fire. They're excited to start the day because they know they're making a difference. Why are they making a difference? Because we've laid out for them not only what we need to do today, but on Wednesday we're going to go over our goals, and then throughout the year we're revisiting our mission and our purpose statement on a consistent basis. Couple other great things. One, everybody in your office should have uniform, and everybody should be wearing the same uniform. When I walk in your office, I should know exactly who the go-to people are in your practice. I think that's critical. I think you're making a big mistake if everyone's wearing something different, or some people are wearing more professional dress and some people aren't. That means the back of the office as well as the front of the office. Another mistake, I think, is, the back of the office becomes separate than the front. And that's a big problem. So everyone needs to wear the same outfit, if you will, the same uniform. So when I walk in, I don't look at any hierarchy. Well, he or she's the doctor and he or she's a staff member. Everybody looks the same because we're all part of the same team. Also, not only do I ask my practice staff, if you will, what it is that they think, they want, and so forth, I tell them on a consistent basis every single day what a great job they did. I tell them every day at the end of the day, even if it was a bad day for them, I know that even on a bad day, 95% of the day probably went exactly right, and maybe 5% didn't. And even if they made a major gaffe, let me tell you something. In those moments, nobody needs more inspiration, nobody needs a hug, nobody needs words of encouragement more than your team, because they're taking bullets for you out there. And when they're up front at that desk, they're taking some hard hits. And you got to be knowing that they are doing that, and you want to give them a hug. Hey, Brittany, I want to tell you something right now. I know today was a tough day for you, but I'm going to tell you, you did an awesome job. And no matter what, I would never want to come into this office and serve people with what I do without you here. You're awesome, and I really appreciate you. I'm going to give her a hug. I'm going to give Lisa a hug and tell her she did a great job. I'm going to do that with Chelsea. I'm going to do that with Leanne. None of my staff start the day without a high five or a positive statement, and none of the staff are going to leave that day without a hug and without me telling them, hey, great job, awesome job. Don't worry about it. We can talk about it tomorrow. Put your head down on the pillow. Go out, have a nice dinner tonight. Put your head down on the pillow. Know you did a great job. I'm so proud of you. That was a tough day. That was a tough moment, and you handled it really well under the circumstances. I'm really proud of you. I mean, those are the things that you say to them every single day. You tell them every day because, we as chiropractors, we want to go out and we want to go to events and we want to get built up. But, then we come back to the office, we're not taking the staff, and they're all beat up. And all of a sudden, we're expecting them to be resonating at the level of energy and love that we are, and they're not. A couple more things in my last minutes. They should be reading a green book. They can present on their Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday morning huddle with a few excerpts out of a green book, or certainly out of Stevenson, or doing a 30-second drill, or talking about what cerebellum is, or cerebral spinal fluid, or what it means to lose a curve, or what a subluxation is, or how do you get a subluxation. So you definitely want to have them in that place so they know exactly what's going on. Another thing, really important, you got to start bringing your staff to events. It drives me nuts when I see our clients not bring people to events. You got to think of yourself as a battery. Here you are, you get all charged up at an event and you go back home. They didn't have that experience. They weren't all charged up. So now you have to give up some of that charge, if you will, to them. And guess what? A week or two after the event, you're doing everything right back in the practice the same way you did it 2 weeks before you went to the event. And the staff knows it. They're like, oh, Dr. Bill, he went to the event last week. Don't worry, in 2 weeks we'll be right back to where we started. I mean, you know, oh, he's all fired up because he went to the big event last week. But, you know, you got to bring your staff. You want to set them on fire. How about bringing them and listening? And I'm not trying to beat you up, Doc, but there are some phenomenal speakers out there. I mean, oh my God, I look at some of these places that I go, and, you know, people say, oh, Dr. Joe, you're there. I'm like, man, I'm there. I'm just excited as you are to hear all these other people. I mean, this is phenomenal, and to be part of that is very exciting. So bring them so they can hear the best of the best on the planet articulate what chiropractic is, share what chiropractic is. They can mentor with other CAs. So setting your staff on fire as a quick recap, you know, first off, nobody works for you, they work with you. Secondly, you got to show gratitude and appreciation. Third, you got to have a mission, a purpose, a why, a vision. That should be shared with them on a regular basis. Make them part of everything that happens in the office. Ask them what they think. Make sure everybody's wearing the uniform. Delegate the responsibilities of the practice so they're as much a part of it as you are, and they're worried and concerned about making sure that people are getting care just like you are. And that along 100 other ideas is the way you set your staff on fire, and it's awesome. And they're going to be excited. They'll be there right when you get to the office. You'll be fired up. They'll be fired up. They'll be just as disappointed if somebody misses their adjustment or drops out of care or what have you, because they're going to start to see the ramifications, the consequences of not getting care. Is your staff getting adjusted on a regular basis? Are they on a care plan? Did you x-ray them? Did you surface EMG them? Did you do a thermography? Are they actually on a care plan? Are you handling them and caring for them as well, if not better, than any of your staff? Make that adjustment sacred. Honor the time that you're spending with them. It's critical, and they should know how much you care about them and love them, and they should feel the importance and significance and the love of that adjustment. Just like you give to your mother or somebody you love or your own child, that's how you have to care for them. Show them they matter. And that's critical. Again, nobody works for you, they work with you. I know I said that a bunch of times, but you know, I'm trying to cram in a bunch of stuff. We're out of time. My gift to you, we've got an event coming up, Las Vegas, 26th, 27th. Number one, anybody that calls us from this, you can go right to the website, or you can go right to chiropassionconsulting.com/Vegas. Great way to do it. It'll bring you right to the registration site. If not, you can go right to my website. Register for the event from this promo that we did, and your cost is half price. Normally the fee is $97 for a one-timer. If you've come to the event one time, it's $97. It goes up to $300 as your second one. In this case, the one-time fee goes to half. It's $47. You can come for $47. You're going to get essentially 2 days of unbelievable philosophy, practice tips, and so forth. I think you're going to be lit on fire. I think your staff's going to be lit on fire. And listen, I want you to check us out. I want you to see what you like about us. And if we resonate with you, by all means, we would love, I'm going to meet with each one of you and talk to you about becoming your coach, which is my greatest honor for anyone when they hire me as their coach, just like when a mom or dad brings me their child in practice. And that's the other point, guys. I still practice. That's not to knock anyone that's maybe coaching or mentoring that isn't, but what I tell you to do, I'm still doing. I just did it the day before. I'm seeing hundreds of people in my practice a day. I still do Monday nights. I still deal with financial issues and sidebar issues and side door and back door, and I know how to handle those better than anybody and more effectively. And there's no better coach to have on your team than somebody who's still in the game. And I'm going to tell you, I'm always going to be in the game. I love what I do. I love adjusting people. I still get goosebumps every time somebody new comes to the practice. It's another opportunity to tell the story. And there's nobody that wants to see chiropractic in the world, both as a philosophical way to live our lives as well as a pragmatic way to take care of the nervous system. Nobody wants to see that take over more than me, I got to tell you. So it would be an honor to have you there. Also, the first 25 people that have registered for this, make sure you reach out to me, and I'll make sure you get a DVD of one of our philosophy talks. We've got 3 very popular talks. One is in an EPOC, one's at a core, and one is at CalJam. So tell us which one you want. If we call you to select you out of that first 25, and we'll give you one of those discs. I think they're $100-something a piece, and we'll give you that as a gift from me. Most importantly, I'd like to see you at our event. So if you call for the event, again, it's half price, $47. Love to see you there. Join the Chiropassion family. Join the Chiropassion Consulting family. Let's make a dedication now to make a difference and change the world, and that starts right now. It's been an honor to spend this evening with you guys. Work on setting your team on fire. I will talk to you in Vegas. Look forward to meeting you. Thank you.
Best friend game.